Folks, welcome back. Today I'm going to kind of give a little tutorial on how to take off this upper fairing on the ZX-4RR. I have another video which tells you how to take off the side fairings, so I'll link to that in the description below. But today I wanted to just give you an idea of what to do to take off this piece. It's not very hard at all. Once you get the side and mid fairings off, what you're going to do is just take off a few fasteners, and then this whole front end with the headlight, the upper fairing and the headlight, just pops all the way off. So let's jump in. Alright, so once you get the fairings off, you're going to need a couple 10mm wrenches, and you see this bolt and nut right here? You're going to go ahead and unscrew those, and it's a tight fit, don't break your fairings, but you want to take that off, and there's one on each side. So I've already pre-loosened them, but you just stick the wrench in here and undo these bolts and nuts. There we go. Now that we got those off, the next step is a couple of pop rivets, the plastic rivets. You'll see one right here, and you'll push it in the middle, and then you're gonna just pull out the rivet just like that. And then another one on this side over here. And once you get those out, then I want you to take note that the headlight has these friction fit. And you see this one, it wasn't pushed in very well. You want to lubricate these. But there's a friction fit little barb that goes into a rubber grommet there. And we're going to pull the headlight assembly off, forward, off the bike. Thing to note is the mirrors. You got to take off the mirrors. So there's 2 Allens per side. You're going to need a 4mm Allen. And once you take those off, then what you do is you pull the upper fairing kind of up over the little raised nubs there. You can see it right there. Once you pull it up and forward, you'll see it just kind of falls off. And then here it is. And you have a connector right here for the headlights. Just one single connector. And you want to support the upper fairing. And if you pry the tab outwards, it unplugs, and then here you go. Here's the whole upper fairing off with the headlight. Oh, and do you see you got this little grate for the ram air intake. This may or may not come off with the upper fairing, but it goes right there. Take note, don't lose that. Make sure it's installed the proper way. Why am I taking off the upper fairing today? I need to get to this plastic piece. I bought this carbon one from WeBike Japan, and I think it's going to go well on this bike, which has some other carbon accents on the tail, and there's some on the side fairings as well. But this carbon piece, I've been waiting for a while. It's finally here, and in order to take it off, the old one, and replace it with this carbon one, next step is to take off the instrument cluster, and it comes off with just a couple screws in the back. So give me a moment and we'll come back and do that. Hey, I'm going to stop a moment and just make a comment on screwdrivers with Japanese motorcycles. Japanese bikes use a different Phillips head than the standard ones you find on a lot of American products. They use what's called a JIS. I think it's Japanese Industrial Standard. But on Amazon, you can look up Vessel JIS or JIS screwdrivers, and you're going to find screwdrivers specifically made for this JIS screw. And they work a lot better, boy, I got to tell you. It's the regular Phillips head screwdrivers kind of cam out and strip, whereas these just fit like a glove. They do not cam out. So after we take off these 2 self-tapping screws, you'll see the instrument cluster. It's almost free. It's held on by a rubber grommet at the bottom, right here. Another one of those rubber grommets. And now we have to unplug the electrical harness from the instrument cluster, and then we should start being able to work on taking off this fascia piece, this inner cowling trim. This has never been taken off before, and it feels like it's kind of glued on there, but it's not. It's just rubber that is stuck to plastic. And so you just kind of pry it and pull it back until it comes off, and then you see this little tab. Push that down, remove the instrument cluster. Do not start up your bike. Take the key out and put this in a safe place. You don't want to drop it. That is always really bad. Right, so now we have the inner cowling trim piece ready to come out. And it comes out really easy. All you do is you see the mirrors that had the raised nubs that the inner upper cowling sits on. Same thing for the trim piece right there. There is a rubber gasket here. Don't lose it. Make sure it stays behind. And then once that comes off, voila, there it is. So now we have the plastic original Kawasaki inner cowling trim and the WeBike nice carbon fiber one. Which one's your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Do you like the original one, or is this blingy carbon fiber one worth it? I don't know which one's lighter. They both feel light, but you know, carbon fiber's cool. So that's what I'm going to be going with on this. The next step here is going to be to transfer all these rubber well nuts over to the carbon fiber. So you've got 2 well nuts on each side for the mid fairings, and then there are 3 rubber grommets for the instrument cluster. So go ahead and take those out of this old one and then install them on the carbon fiber one, and I'll come right back. Got all the well nuts and rubber grommets transferred over. One thing I would like to let you know is that these well nuts, when you're using the used ones, they're going to be deformed from the screws squishing them tight. They're a little bit harder to put on than brand new well nuts. Brand new well nuts from this side, you just pop them in, then you can tighten the screw. But these, since they're used, they're bulged out, if you can see right there. And you have to put them in from this side into this side. And it's a little fiddly, but you can get it done. And on these rubber grommets, I always recommend a little bit of lubricant. I like Dow Corning 4. It's referred to as DC-4. You can find it on Amazon and other places. It's a dielectric grease which works really good for these rubber pieces. I also did the upper fairing, the rubber pieces that the big barbs go into, and I lubricated the barbs themselves as well. So let's go ahead and get this fitted on next and start putting the bike back together. This carbon fiber has to be kind of like wound around a little bit, and then it eventually pops into place. There we go. Getting close. Yeah, see, it's got a little bit different shape than the stock one. And see this gasket? That's what you don't want to lose. Make sure those stay on. They go underneath the trim piece. So you just want to guide this thing little by little where it needs to go. And I can see right now it's hung up right there, but now it's fallen into place. There it is. Let's see, is it lining up? Yeah. Looking good. All right. That's that for now. The next problem holding up installation is, you see the mirror nubs that this thing has to slide over? The carbon fiber isn't quite big enough. So I have this little reamer that'll make these holes just slightly larger. So I'm going to go through and ream these 4 holes to where I get rid of some of the carbon fiber flash and it's able to set in place. All right, we got the reamer, and it doesn't take very much. Just had to clean up the holes a little bit, make them a little bit bigger since they were undersized. Let's see if that did the trick. Yeah, that side's on. Now let's see this side. Ooh, this carbon fiber is not as flexible as the stock plastic. So it's a little bit more fiddly to get on. Let's try it out the right side first. Oh, it's not going easy. Looks like this one needs to be reamed a little bit more. There it goes. Boy, the plastic one is definitely easier to put on, I'll tell you that. It's a lot more give and forgiveness. This one is just not flexing. I'm going to take a few moments, see if I can get it to fit, and come back. So I had to ream these holes quite a bit oversized because a tight fit did not allow this thing to get into place. It's just not flexible. Carbon fiber is like as stiff as steel, whereas the plastic one bends and molds and, you know, went onto these nubs for the mirrors much easier. So I've got the left side on, and now the right side I've got to kind of pull down while pushing up the fairing, and it's a tough one. It's not close, and carbon fiber does not give, so I'm gonna have to pull and yank on this carefully with both hands until I can see it popping in. And of course we don't want to break the item. But another difference I noted is that the stock one has 2 barbs right here which go into these rubber grommets. This carbon fiber one has no barbs, so that's okay. I don't think that's going to be a problem. The biggest problem is getting these slipped over when the carbon fiber doesn't want to flex. So I'm going to go and see what I can do and come back and show you the result. All right, update. I had to ream these quite a bit bigger because it's not even close. You can see it's just this carbon fiber doesn't want to flex. But I think I have a method to get this done. If I put my arm across like this and I kind of bend it down, I can get it close. And so let's see if that works. Nothing aftermarket ever fits without a hammer. That's the joke. Let's see. Carbon fiber just isn't forgiving. Oh, I'm so close. Oh, that's as close as it's come. There it goes. Wow. Woo! Yeah, carbon fiber is not forgiving to work with. Not easy. Boy, and the fit and finish of this thing is not the best. I mean, the lineup is okay, but this is what you get when you buy aftermarket parts, not from the manufacturer. Yeah, I think I'll make it work. It's going to look fancy, but what a pain in the butt. It is not easy. So, yeah, anyway, I think that step is done. Now we need to put the instrument cluster back on, which is the reverse of removal. We plug it in. We'll stick it over here, plug it in, and put the 2 screws. All right, bottom pin locates there. Goes in through the grommets. And then now we're going to plug in the plug. Snap for positive engagement and slip the little dust cover on. Now let's go get the screws and put those on. One trick I want to show, when you're using self-tapping screws into plastic, the best way to get them to go right back into the threads they originally created is turn them backwards until you get a click. Watch this. Once you get that click, then you start tightening. And then it won't make new threads. It'll go right back into the old threads that it was in. So backwards until you get a click. Right there, and then go forwards. Then you're just reusing the same threads that originally cut. Just good practice. Now we're ready to put the upper fairing and headlight back on. You want to make sure that the ram air duct is properly located. There's a little tab on top, and make sure it's on the outside. And you're going to make sure that this engages the upper fairing properly so that the fairing goes inside this rubber. But before you do that, you got to plug in the headlight. So go back to that headlight connector right here. And first thing we do, we plug that in right there. Now once that's in, now we can just put all this back. And remember these barbs? Those 2 barbs go into the rubber grommets while guiding the air intake into the right spot. There we go. There's one grommet. There's the other grommet, and it's going to slip over those mirror nubs that we struggled with on the carbon fiber fairing. So you want to inspect all your grommets, make sure they're good, look at your air intake, make sure that's good, and that's it. They'll be ready for the next step to put some bolts. You're happy with the air intake and that everything is situated properly, and that the rubber grommets and the barbs that go into them are all happy and nothing's bunched up or binding. Now you grab those bolts and nuts, and I install them the same way I found them, with the bolt from behind and then the nut in front. And you can go to the factory service manual for the torque, but really these are just fitter's feel for me. I like to just tighten them up to where they're snug and I'm happy. Usually you'll find them really tight from the factory. These bikes are built in Thailand, and some of the bolts were super tight, some of them were super loose. So it's just good practice. Take the whole bike apart and do it all yourself. This is also a good time to check your coolant level. Cold, it should be in between these 2 marks, which this one is, so I'm happy. I'll leave it there. But I'm going to go get a couple 10mm wrenches, tighten up these bolts and nuts on each side. All right, let's tidy up these nuts and bolts down here. All right, and one more over here. This one's still a little loose. There we go. All right, now that those are snugged up, the next piece are those rivets that go in the corners here. Remember those? I did have to ream those holes out a little bit too. So just remember, the carbon fiber comes with the holes all unfinished. You gotta dial it in to work. There you go, there's that side. And now let's come on over here and put put this one in. Ooh, see, it's spreading open. It's not happy. There it goes. There we go. That one's in. Hey, it's already starting to look pretty nice. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the mid fairings and the side fairings back on. I'm not going to go through that on this video. I did that on another one, which is linked down below in the description, but I'll get this buttoned up and show you the finished product. There you have it. Job done. It's finally in place, and I think it looks pretty good, but I'm biased because I just spent a bunch of money on it at WeBike, and I'm stuck with it, so of course I'm going to say I like it. But, you know, just be prepared for the fact that the bolt holes are going to need to be adjusted, not just in size, but maybe location. Resist the temptation to drill through your Kawasaki plastics. They're expensive and valuable. Instead, move the hole in the carbon fiber to meet the hole in the fairing. Particular these bolts and these positions of the carbon fiber, I had to really pull them into place so they could line up with the well nuts. But everything went in together, and it looks like it worked out. I'll put a link for this carbon fiber inner cowling in the description as well. Let me know what you think. Today, that's pretty much all we wanted to cover. I guess, you know, I mean, is it a performance increase? No, it's purely cosmetic. It doesn't save enough weight to be of any significance. And this thing, you see how much it flexes? The carbon fiber one will not move more than like 3 millimeters, whereas this one is moving 3 inches at a time. And that goes for these mirror mounts as well as back here. The carbon fiber one is almost like made of steel in terms of its ductile properties. So be prepared for a little bit of a struggle, a little bit of a fight getting it on. But hey, I think the end result is worth it. You know, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and check out all the other nonsense for ZX-4RRs that I keep posting. Thanks.